Matt, a big day for you, announcing your retirement from the game, a place you've known as a player for almost 15 years and a place you've known for the whole life. How are you feeling?
I was all right till I came down here. It's pretty surreal, kind of sitting here, just looking. It's always a bit eerie and there's no one in the ground, but especially today, all the memories just come flooding back. And yeah, it was all right to look down here and just feeling pretty emotional right now.
You and I spoke a few days ago when you finally made the decision, and you told me it's one you've been thinking about for a long time.
Yeah.
How long exactly?
Probably well over a year, I'd say. Actually, it's funny. I went out for dinner with Steve Kenny, who used to play for Leicester, in last summer. I remember just asking the question, "How did you know when you stopped playing?" And I won't tell you what he said, but his words kind of stuck with me. And over the last couple of months, my body's not what it used to be, and I think I've got so much respect for the club and for the shirt. I don't think now at the level where it's the level that's needed for the club going forward. And I've had my time. It's time for the young lads to kind of take over.
Talk about a young lad. One young lad in particular, or two young lads, kept you playing for a couple of years.
Yes.
Do you want to tell me a bit about that?
Yes, my two sons, Monty and Felix. So yeah, Monty's now, he's 3.5. He came along, perfect time. It was pretty dark place, and then it was around when Aaron Major was here. He came back and he almost kind of gave me the love for the game. And then wanted to play in front of Monty at Welford Road. That kind of get me going, and that got me the love of the game back. So that was 3 years ago, and then Felix arrived on Boxing Day, a week after I had my shoulder operation, not the best timing. And then that's been the driving force for me getting fit all the way through my shoulder rehab. Somehow I knew at the back of my mind I'd just get that chance to kind of play in front of him at Welford Road, and luckily I did that the other week against Bristol, and hopefully one more time against Bath next week.
If they're the future, let's talk about the past, because the reason you wanted to play in front of your boys was because you had the chance to do that with your dad, that everybody knows is Ian Dosser-Smith.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about those days running around as a kid?
Yeah, it's weird. It's looking, obviously it's all changed now, the ground, the old clubhouse down there, that ball area down there, the hours we used to spend down there playing with the Wheeler boys, the Dodge boys. That's basically where I learnt to play rugby from the age of being able to walk. That's where we kind of learnt to play the game. Mum and Dad were obviously in the old clubhouse bar up there, and as kids we were just kind of kicked out there and with a ball, and that's where my love for this club and love for the game kind of started down there.
Do you think we've had a chat about this, but do you think the place is different for you than someone who might arrive here as a new signing, or even a kid as an academy? This has been essentially your backyard. It's been your playground growing up.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a bit cheesy to say, but this club's basically been the vehicle which I've lived my whole life through. I was 3 weeks old when I came my first game here. I'm now 33, almost 34. So the whole of my life have had some association with this club, and it's always been there. It is part of my family. I feel part of the family, and I'm very close to the club. It means an awful lot to me.
A lot of people we've spoken to ahead of this announcement and ahead of today, and everyone says the same kind of thing, that you do epitomise what the club stands for and what's it about. I would imagine a lot of that is down to your dad?
Yeah, I'd say so. Not just Dad, his mates as well, the Tigers legends as such. I'll probably talk about it a bit, but those guys, I think that can often get overlooked. This place as it is now, not through choice. Those guys back then, people like Tudor Thomas, Dave Matthews, those kind of guys, the list could go on and on and on. Those kind of guys is what this club stands for, and what the whole place is about, really. Tudor used to sit, I remember he used to sit just down there by the committee box there. That's what this whole place is built on, really. Those foundations, as fans now, as players, I don't think we often realise how lucky we are, and the sacrifices those old boys made.
What does this club mean to you? What does this place mean in your head?
It's basically just like the way you feel about your family, your mum, dad, your brothers, your sisters. It is part of me. It's cheesy to say, but I have kind of the Tigers DNA. It's been ingrained since the day dot, and I've always been around this place. It's changed a lot, but it's the way you feel about your family is exactly the way I feel about this place.
So you were at Oakham, obviously, running around alongside a good mate, Tom Croft.
Yep.
You find yourself in the academy here.
Yep.
And then you make your debut alongside a pretty famous name against the Barbars out on this pitch.
Yeah.
Do you remember that day?
Bits and bobs, yeah. Obviously, that we were talking about Pat Howard. It was kind of surreal. Obviously, he's been back around the place. So it's almost kind of done the full cycle. Sorry, kind of playing my first game with Pat, and he's been around the place the last couple of weeks. Yeah, it was against the Barbarians. Can't remember many of that. Joe Roth, I Rinley played for them. But the biggest memory was just trying not to fall down the steps down there. I remember, if I can get onto the pitch, I'll be all right. But pretty vague memories back then. It was a long time ago.
How much has the game changed to now, where the conversation you and I had, where you used to come into the rooms and sit down and, you know, shock horror, you had to talk to people. Yeah. Now you come in with your headphones on and your phone on. How much has the game changed?
It's changed massively. It's on and off the field. On the field, probably can't get away with as much as you used to back in those days. Off the field, like we spoke about, there's probably a lot more external noise. Social media's played a massive part on that. The point you're kind of talking about is when I first started playing, we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have Facebook. Basically, you had to speak to the bloke next to you. And I think that's probably what we probably were a bit tight about then. Whereas now you look and change where everyone's on their phone. Sometimes it kind of does my head in that you need to build those relationships. But that's probably the biggest change I've seen.
Talk about one relationship you built up. Your wife, Alicia, that you told me you pretty much owe this crazy life to.
Yes. She, to start with, it was hard. It was a struggle to get up to Leicester. She was at university in London, and I'm sure she won't mind telling you. We told a story. I actually lied to her. I told her to sign a 1-year contract, not a 2, because she was adamant we were only staying for a short period of time. We were going to move to possibly Harlequin or something like that. So in my head, I was like, I've got a year to persuade her Leicester is the place to be. And luckily, she's made great friends through the clubs as well. Obviously, players' wives and stuff like that. And now she feels just as attached to this place as I do. But Christ, without her, I would not be sat here today. She's incredible.
It goes without saying why you wouldn't have joined another club. I think everyone knows that's met you or even seen you play that this was always going to be your home. And I think your wife was probably going to always have to accept that.
Yeah.
You talked about her making great friends. You came through the academy with the Youngs boys, Sammy Harrison, Dan Cole, obviously Crofty.
Yeah.
These are literally your best mates in the world.
Yeah, they are. We're literally growing up with each other. So from the age of 16 to that's half of our life, we've known each other. We know everything about each other, literally everything, which sometimes is interesting.
Oh, I know.
But we've come from teenagers through adults, weddings, kids, births, etc., etc. We've basically lived our life through each other, and I'm sure we'll talk about it soon. But that friendship, those memories, that to me means a hell of a lot more than winning. Winning trophies is what we all aspire to do, but in years to come, those are the things I probably look back on, those friendship and memories, that they mean personally more to me than winning trophies.
You've won some trophies though.
Yes.
4 premierships, 2 or 3 Anglo-Welsh Cups. Do you have a highlight, or are they all just as equally as good as one another?
I'd say the first Premiership final I played against London Irish, and that was 2009. That was pretty special, pretty surreal. Obviously going down all the way through the 90s, going down to the Pilkington Cup back then, all those finals, and finally getting to playing one, that was pretty surreal. It was almost kind of out of body experience. You look on the podium, you've got people like Cozza, Lewis Moody, Jordy Murphy, Julian White, these guys, Lewis Deacon. It's like, I shouldn't be here. How has this happened? And then that night as well, we didn't touch a drop of alcohol. It was pretty strange, because we had the European Cup final next week. So I remember being sat in town in McDonald's, literally on my own. I think I was eating a Big Mac or something, like, I've just won the Premiership. Literally lived out my dream, and I'm sat here eating a Big Mac sober. It was a pretty surreal experience. But that first Premiership title, that's probably one of my special moments.
You say you shouldn't be there. You've now played 227 games. You'll play 228, assuming and hoping you're there against Bath. And did you ever think, as cliche as it sounds, did you ever think you'd get more than one?
No.
Or even, you told me you didn't think you'd go above the A-League at one point.
Yeah, it's always been almost kind of driving force for me. My motivation, kind of always playing, always having that almost kind of self-doubt. I'm sure other players have it as well. So almost even playing next week, there's still with that bit of mind thinking, Christ, you shouldn't be here. You're not good enough to play in this game and stuff like that. So that's always driven me on. But that first game, then obviously you play your first game, then you want to get to your 20 game to get your 20 game tie. And then you get into the high hundreds, and you want to get your blue tie, your Leicester cap. But that's always, I think, as soon as you become comfortable with your environment, with the surroundings, that's when you kind of slip up, and that's when your kind of standards drop. So that always wanted to get better has kind of driven me on. And
you mentioned the camaraderie and the friendship. Was it made easier by having guys you'd come through the academy with? I know you're a big believer in that.
Yeah, definitely. When we spoke the other day, look at clubs now, Saracens, Exeter, they've got that core of academy guys. Good documentary, Leeds Rhinos, 2015 again, Manchester United, all these successful teams. When we're successful, you have that core of guys who have come through the system, and I've never played anywhere else, but from my point of view, I can't see how it can mean as much to those young guys coming through the system as guys coming from all over the world. And hopefully moving forward, that's something which the club can get back.
And now you get the chance to do that because of a
Yes.
new role you're taking
Yes.
on as the academy head coach.
Yes.
Which is being announced as we speak as well.
Yes. That is, again, when we spoke earlier, I still love the game, I still want to play the game. I wouldn't have retired, I wouldn't be stopping playing if it wasn't for this opportunity coming up. I can't tell how excited I am. I'm looking forward to inspiring the next Dan Coles, the next Tom Youngs, etc., etc. And I feel my value for the club now is probably more in that side of things. My value on the pitch is probably not what it used to be, so I want to keep contributing to this place. So hopefully I'm going to contribute bucket loads, bringing the next generation of lads through.
Talk about Bath, if we are going to go full circle, how do you think you'll feel coming off the pitch in that final game? I mean, you paused for a minute against Bristol there and thanked the crowd. I don't know why, there's still one game to go, but how do you think you'll feel when you do finally step off for the last time?
I don't know. It's weird because even training today, we want to beat Bath. I've still got that burning desire inside me. Like, I don't care if it's my last game. All I want to do is beat Bath. Week on Saturday, I just want to go out on a high. All the lads leaving as well. We want to win. Like, I think when it finally comes to an end, I'll probably sit down and reflect, and it'll probably hit me pretty hard. But at the minute, even training this week, training next week, all our motivation, all my thoughts are just about beating Bath.
It's fitting that it's a long rivalry against Bath that you get to go out on, but I'd imagine you probably would have wanted to go out against Saints, because that is a game that means more to you than most.
Yeah, that's the one. That's looking out here. Those memories, there, instant memories that come flooding back. Remember looking down here, there's a young lad being bent over there by two Northampton forwards, just laughing at them. That was a good day. But they're scoring tries in the corner here. Any time we play against Northampton, being a local lad, that means the most. One of my best mates, schoolmates, he's a massive Northampton fan as well. But any time you play Northampton here, being a fan as well, you know what it means to the fans as well. They're incredible days.
And then you had one very special day which turned a bit sour post-match when you crossed for a double and you go in and thinking you're king of the world, and your old man brought you back to earth very quickly. Yeah,
that was actually against Sale. I think I've only ever scored 2 tries once. Anyway, so we're going to the players bar over there, and I'm thinking pretty good. Here I am, could have made 2 tries. My dad's just shaking my head at me. I was like, oh God, what's happened here? He's like, what's wrong with you? I was like, nothing's wrong with me. I just scored 2 tries. Like, what about the 2 or 3 tackles you missed? He's shaking his head. I was like, straight away come crashing back down to earth. But that's typical of him. That's what he's like.
I want to ask you about your dad as well. You once got a letter from him, or a card, that was one of the most special days in your career. You said to me. Do you want to just tell me that story?
Yeah, I think it was a wedding day or birthday. There's a card at home somewhere. It's always, people always ask you about the influence of your dad, but on this occasion he basically said, "You're a proper Leicester Tiger," and not hearing that not from my dad as him as Ian Dossall-Smith, that meant a lot to me. Obviously, I've seen how respected he is by his peers, people he coached, people he played with. So that meant a lot for me, from him being Ian Smith, the Tigers player, not my dad. I've treasured that as well. That meant a lot to me.
It takes us nicely into your heroes. You talked a little bit before about the people that built the club.
Yeah.
Who were your biggest heroes at Tigers growing up?
Biggest heroes, there's loads of them. So we talked start of the week, didn't we? So that back line of Adele Cardooni, Jez Harris, Ian Bates, Stuart Potter, Rory Underwood, Steve Hackney, John Lively, those are the guys who grew up. Any of those. And then Dean Richards. Even now, I'm still petrified, and there's still an aura around Dean Richards. So any of those backs or Dean Richards, growing up watching those guys was pretty special.
And then I guess as you kind of come to the end of this chat, but it's a little bit cliche, but you've obviously got a lot of people to thank.
Yeah.
You've spoken about your wife and obviously your dad, but your mum, who is actually the most successful sports person in the family.
Yeah, she's the only international sports person in our family, which we get reminded of a lot. So yeah, she was a Great Britain gymnast. So.
And then you've got a big, I guess, sibling support base as well.
Yeah. I always feel sorry for my mum, because obviously Dad's had this association with the club, but there's no doubt I wouldn't be sat here without her. She was a driving force for me to go into Oakham, where I first started playing the game. She's pretty incredible, and actually, just talking about her, that kind of gets me the most, really. She's an incredible lady, a bit of a rough time, but she's an inspiration to all our family. She is. And then brothers, sisters, there's lots of us. We've had some fun, and just sharing this whole journey with me. It's nights out with us, parties, stuff like that. Then being in and around the club as well, experiencing that's pretty special.
And then finally, I need to ask you, because while it might sound scripted and it might sound pushed, you actually prompted me into talking about this, but this place is nothing without the supporters.
Yeah, yeah.
And as you said yourself, you were once a fan.
Yeah.
And so you actually understand
Yeah.
how they feel
Yeah.
and why they love it. What would you say to them as you wrap this up, as you finish now?
Thank you. I truly mean thank you as well. I was a fan first, I'll be a fan for the rest of my life. I get that feeling. We're playing up at Newcastle the other week. That feeling still that's sat on the bench, I have that feeling which they're feeling. It's almost a sickness in your stomach. The nerves, what it means to them and stuff like that. And they don't be under any illusion, the club is moving forward. Hopefully stick with us. Hopefully the good times will return. I'm sure they will under Jordy. But stick with us and thank you for the memories. This place would say, be nothing without these fans. They're the ones who make this place special.
What do you want them to remember you as?
Yeah, that's a good question. Spoke at the start of the week. The fans, probably being part of the first father and son who played over 200 games. Someone who gave it their all, respected by the teammates, and someone who deeply cares. That'll do for me.
And I've got to ask you before we finish up, because you had some interesting answers on it, but the best player you ever played with?
Jordy Murphy.
Why?
Yeah.
Keep it short and keep it on the pitch.
Yeah. I remember when I was kind of coming up through the system, playing second team, stuff like that. He used to make seasoned internationals, not young lads, 18, 19-year-olds, look stupid in training. He epitomises this place. As a player, he gave it all. His skill level was unbelievable. His knowledge of the game, his understanding of the game. And he also had that bit of grit, which I like as well. Not many people realise that. He's got that skinny Irishman strength in him. You don't want to cross Jordy, but yeah, he was the best player I played with by some distance as well, which is saying a lot because I played with some good ones.
Toughest player?
Lewis Deacon. Always felt a lot safer when he was around. Yeah, he's probably up there. Yeah.
What about the worst roommate you had? Because you've been a lot over Europe.
God, there's been loads. So I used to room with Lenny for a good 6 or 7 years. We used to have some fun. Then Crofty for a bit. That was pretty boring.
You actually lived with him too. So.
Yeah, I lived with him as well. Yeah, because he's just always asleep. And then recently Sam Harrison. He's pretty good. And the worst, I'd say Crofty.
Yeah.
He snores as well. He's so messy. But yeah, I'm not going to indulge any too many stories there.
What about the worst banter in the team?
Ever? Oh my God.
You all pride yourselves on it.
There has been like Julian Salvin and Thomas Waldron, Dumb and Dumber. They were up there. They were. I generally worry for them post rugby. Julian coaches Exeter. He is one of the most stupid people I've ever come across. Him and Thomas Waldron together. I'm amazed they even know their own names. Seriously, they are bonkers. Yes, probably those two. Yeah.
I want to ask finally, as the very last question, but are you looking forward to bringing your lads here and watching?
What, my boys?
Yeah. Sitting in
Yeah.
the stands with them.
Yeah, definitely. That's something. I've watched a couple of games with not with Felix, with Monty up there. And he's starting to get it now. But yeah, for the rest of our lives, they'll always be coming here, watching games, stuff like that. I don't want to turn into my dad, but I'm sure in years to come I'll be boring them stories about this one time when Daddy scored a try over there, one time Daddy dropped the ball over there. But yeah, they're both born in Leicester. They're part of this place as well, so I'm sure they'll enjoy that.
Thanks, Smithy.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.